So now please allow me to announce a message of greeting from Ophelia Nick before we get into the content of the program. Ophelia is Parliamentary State Secretary in our Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and she will bring us the greetings of the federal government. I'm very grateful that this was possible because everything we discuss here today and tomorrow will only be effective if it is included in the political decisions of the coming years. So welcome, Ophelia. I'm so glad to see you, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Felix. Stefan Schwarzer, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me to your conference, which I'm delighted to attend. I find the idea behind the climate landscape concept highly fascinating. Your key topics in the coming 2 days are the role of water and water management, and what the interconnection between vegetation, soils, and water means to combating the climate crisis. What I find remarkable is the approach of examining the cooling potential of the vegetation in our landscape more closely. And it is right and important to also do this in the international context. After all, the climate crisis does not stop at borders. Droughts, floods, and storms destroys harvest on all continents. No one can be left cold by images of people in India or Pakistan desperately seeking shade when temperatures reach 50 degrees Celsius. Over weeks, we witnessed temperature records in India, the highest in 122 years. At soil temperatures of over 60 degrees, any grain will wither on its stake. And then almost the whole country downright floats away due to flash floods of historic proportions. And we see droughts that we are threat to livelihoods in California, drying out wells. More than 1,200 wells have dried out there this year, a rise of 50% compared to the previous year. Heat and droughts are a serious danger to harvests, and not only in China, the Sahel, or Eastern Africa. The worst consequences is that people suffer from hunger and die of starvation, and not just since yesterday. So it cannot be overstressed. Hunger is greatest in the area worst affected by the climate crisis. It is now up to all of us to contribute to mitigating climate change and to ensure that the targets of the Paris Agreement are reached. If we do not succeed in this, the environment will suffer, and we in turn will suffer as well. Competition of resources is to be expected. The availability of water will be decisive, and sea levels will rise substantially. The Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, IPCC, has warned of this multiple times and urgently called all governments to take action. When I say this, it's up to all of us, then this, of course, also applies here in Germany. In terms of droughts and low groundwater levels, it would be best, of course, to not let water become scarce in the first place. This means that we have to restore a near natural water regime that is well prepared for the effects of climate change. For example, landscapes that feature meadows and greenways must become better structured so that soils can serve as better water stores than they do now. The banks of lakes and the floodplains of streams must regain their function as natural retention zones during flooding events and as water stores during dry periods. This will enable the water regime to remain well balanced. Needless to say that the agricultural sector must make concrete contribution to this. And this is why we at the Ministry of Agriculture have been funding a nationwide pilot project on humus formation in the conventional and organic farming sectors since the beginning of the year. After all, humus in agricultural soil is essential for soil biota and fertility, the water regime, nutrient storage and availability, and erosion reduction. The aim will thus to be propagate practical, novel, and innovative methods of humification throughout the agricultural sector. A multitude of holdings are participating in the project, thereby representing the variety of holding structures and regional landscapes in Germany. The project is thus an important component in the agricultural sector's contribution to combating the climate crisis. In terms of our landscape architecture within the context of the climate crisis, our forests also play a major role. Forests are climate change mitigators and carbon sinks. Forests guarantee biological diversity. In addition, forests are an essential part of a well-balanced water regime. Wherever forests grow, rainwater is temporarily stored by tree canopies and trunks before gradually seeping into the soil. This leads to less surface runoff and high water storage capacity. But our forests are also suffering from the climate crisis. Now that, due to calamities such as droughts and parasite infestation, as well as storms and fires, large swathes of forests are being destroyed. The forest's ability to fulfill its essential role in the water regime is severely limited. This is why in the necessary restoration and adaptation of our forests, it is the federal government aim to boost their capability of fulfilling this vital function. While the significance of forests for climate protection is common knowledge, the situation is different when it comes to moorland. For this reason, I repeat the following at any opportunity that arises. Moorland protection is one cornerstone of natural climate protection. A clear mission derives from this. We have to effectively protect nature wherever it's still intact and restore it wherever it is damaged. Moorland protection is multifaceted. On the one hand, we need renatured moors that will then be able to form natural moorland flora and fauna. On the other hand, we also need smart utilization concepts involving partly rewetting moors or raising water table levels so that less peat is mineralized. We want to reduce CO2 emissions by 5 million tons by 2030 by rewetting agricultural used moorlands. Depending on this intensity of the rewetting of the previously agriculturally used soil, greenhouse gas emissions can be reduced by 20 to 40 tons CO2 per hectare. By 2030, and it's a huge number, the action program and natural climate protection aims to erect a total area of 1,000 to 2,000 hectares. We also have to better protect the areas and landscape features that already make valuable contribution to species and climate protection today. And we need to modify our land take towards food production and climate change mitigation. This involves examining closely whether it really is necessary to sacrifice valuable land to the next supermarket or car park. The use of environmental more valuable plants must also be discussed. Silphium perfoliatum, for example, which is also known as a cup plant, is already attracting interest as a complement or even alternative to maize for biogas production with a number of environmental benefits. I'm sure, however, that there is further potential to be unlocked in future. Just a few generations of humans are currently changing the climate and the face of the earth for millennia to come. There are both natural disasters and man-made catastrophes. Wars and the climate crisis, however, are caused by us, humans, which should actually give us a certain degree of hope. Just like we humans are the cause, we also capable of ameliorating the situation. We can learn and change things. And it is in this spirit that I would like to wish you every success for your conference. May you gain many new insights and exchange motivating ideas. So thank you very much for your engagement.